Naomi, hold on. You're running 7th, Gareth. Well done.
Hello, welcome to episode 38 then of Cookies Rambles. We're 7 days out from Berlin. Ouch. And we this is why I've just said ouch, because look, 7 days out from Berlin. We're just walking down the lane from Naomi's parents. Both of us have been out, me and Naomi, done a 15-mile long run medium long run this morning. Yeah, long run for Naomi, short run for me. And we're just out walking Bessie and a big stick as well, because there's a tree come down on the lane. So had a decent week of training, I'd say, and it started off decent, but yeah, Calamity Annie over here, and I'll explain that as I go along anyway. So kicked off Monday. Start my taper this week as well, so start reducing volume and all that sort of stuff, and I'll go into a bit of like taper lessons that I've learnt as well. Kicked off Monday, 10.5 mile in the morning, ran with Kai, and my heart rate monitor's been a bit glitchy again, but then when I decide I'm going to go and buy a new heart rate monitor, it decides to work. So yeah, I'm holding off a little bit buying a new heart rate monitor at the minute. So 10.5 mile in the morning, 5 mile in the evening, so nice and easy, not stupid, not too fast. And then Tuesday morning came. So in the morning I had a 6 mile run to do with Kai, and yeah, ended up, it was raining, it was drizzly, it weren't pleasant, and where the grass meets the pavement in Darton, I ended up standing on the rubbish mud stuff and took a fall, so fell bang on my left shoulder. Didn't think anything of it at the time, and then when I got home couldn't raise my left arm above my head, so yeah, it hurt a little bit, let's say that. And then as the day went on, it got progressively worse. So yeah, it hurt a little bit, and one of them that an accident avoided. Kai looked at me as well and were like, what are you playing at, lad? But yeah, I was very, very angry with myself when I fell down again. So I think that's second time in like what's been 4 weeks now. And then Tuesday evening went and did the speed session, not thinking that my shoulder probably was as bad as what it were, but then when I was running, couldn't really lift it, couldn't drive it or anything like that, and I was running kind of like I had a broken arm. But yeah, I think it was just, as the week's gone on, it probably just a bruise on my bang on my rotator cuff, if I'm being honest. I don't think it's a tear or anything like that. I think it is just a bruise. So then Wednesday, with that in mind, woke up in the morning. That was meant to be the first day of my taper anyway, so kind of glad. But I went out, did 5 mile in the morning, and I was going to do a 5 mile in the evening, but ended up cutting it down to 3.5 in the evening. Is the first day of my taper, so yeah, I weren't really too fussed about breaking miles and putting more miles in the bank, if I'm being honest. And then on to Thursday, it was 6 mile and 6 mile, split over 2 runs again, tapering. Shoulder got a little bit better, and I kept getting more range of movement into it. But I woke up Thursday morning, put my arm on top of the drawers that's in one of his bedrooms, put my arm on top of the drawers, and like it knocked me sick as I put it on top there, and I had to go and sit down near the toilet for a little bit because I thought I was going to throw up. And then Friday, woke up, just 8 mile Friday morning, shoulder were feeling a little bit better again, so then kind of glad. It thought in my head it's just a bruise. I messaged a couple of physios that I know, Gav Walker being one of them from Aquath, and he just said it'll just be sore, but try some mobility stuff, and that's what I had been doing anyway. Bessie's back with her stick, look. Yeah, and that's what I had been doing anyway. But anyway, stuck to my single run on Friday as I promised myself during this block, so I've hit that every single time, and just did 8 mile. And then at the beginning of the week, had it have been shoulder gate or not, we're always going to be going a whole park run this weekend, so I wanted to have a little bit of a pop just to see where my legs were at, and try and get something a little bit quicker than marathon pace under my belt. So yeah, that were always the plan, but this had changed a little bit to being have a little bit of a pop, but see if my body could actually act running fast, and my shoulder could act running fast. I've still got a week to go until the marathon, so yeah, no dramas whatsoever there. And I've got a massage booked in tomorrow with John Ackleton as well to loosen my shoulder off. Well, I'll be asking him to, as well as my legs as well, because that's what the main focus of the massage is going to be. So yeah, that'll be what I'll be focusing on Monday as I go further into my taper. So anyway, yeah, whole park run, got around in 16:20 and spoke to a lad called Ben that used to run quite a lot around Hull, and runs for Barton, and I finished in front of him. He's finished in front of me at races, so that was nice. It was nice to see him, and he's doing Berlin Marathon as well next weekend. So yeah, 16:20 at Hull park run, felt quite good. Shoulders started hurting and niggling in probably the last 400 meters, and then on my cool down as well a little bit, but yeah, nothing too dramatic. And then went and did a couple of mile after, misjudged it and did 3 mile after, and then did 3 mile in the evening because we were sat in Tesco car park in Hornsey, and they had traffic lights on the roundabout to leave Tesco, and it took Naomi 51 minutes to leave Tesco car park, and she were in the shop for 15 minutes and it took her 20 minutes to get there. So to begin with, she was sat getting out of Tesco car park for longer than she were in the full shop and stuff. So yeah, I decided whilst we were in the car park to go for a little bit of a run, and get something else, get some more miles done. Bessie's just devouring a tree or starting to. There's all.
Can I film it? What's this? Get it. Get it. What's this?
This is what Bessie does when we separate ourselves. I'm carrying on filming here. Bessie doesn't want to go home yet. Her harness will come off. Told you. Now look what you've done. Alright, go on. She'll lock in again. There's a car coming. Bye, Bessie. Leaving me at the tree. No, she's a small dog.
It falls out her hand.
Yeah, I know. Bye, Bessie. So yeah, ended up doing 12 mile on a Saturday anyway, and then that took me to 72 mile at that point for the week, and then this morning went out and did 15 mile on the roads around where Naomi's parents live, so out in the flat country. Took me to 87.7 mile for the week with a dodgy shoulder, so roughly 20% taper on, or 15ish less than what I did last week, when I were like in the peak of, well, back end of marathon training, and had a good shoulder but had some tender ribs. So yeah, decent week of training. No fitness is going to be gained at this point, so that brings me on to like the benefits of actually doing a taper. So previously, Cookie of old didn't used to taper for marathons, so when I finished first at Milton Keynes Marathon in 2017, the day before I went and ran on Warncliffe Crags with Chris Barton and Brian Harrod, so about 16 mile worth of running on the trails and fells around Barnsley. So yeah, Cookie of old didn't taper. It's not something that Cookie did, but he's learned his lesson and he knows that a benefit of tapering brings like marathon gains throughout in the long run, literally. So yeah, I've got about 7 benefits of tapering that I've notched down for you that I'll reel off now. So it repairs your muscles. So a marathon block is a long time, 12 weeks, 16 weeks for some people, 8 weeks of intensity for others, but it repairs them muscles and allows your muscles to get back to something like and gives you a little bit of strength, especially in those final few miles of a marathon that might be needed come race day. And it gives you a chance, so benefit number 2, for much needed like rest and recovery. So a marathon training is like, it's a big block and your body will need that rest and recovery, and that rest and recovery leads to adaptation. So training stress, rest recovery equals adaptation, and that's always a benefit of tapering as well. It's that final stage of adaptation that can take place. And then number 3, on race day, those final miles, it helps avoid fatigue on race day. So you don't want to be turning up to the start line on the morning of your race, your big event, and feeling tired or feeling like your legs are aching already before you've even got underway. So it allows you to avoid that actually happening, and fatigue setting in before you've even started the event, whatever you're about to go and do. Number 4, so your training, it's already been banked. You can't lose fitness in 2 weeks or in 3 weeks. It's already been banked, it's already been notched. You're not going to go up a level or progress to the next stage within that time frame. So you might as well rest, you might as well recover and allow that adaptation to take place, because it's already banked and the money's already there. And then number 5, it allows your energy levels to rebuild. So throughout your marathon training process, you've been eating a lot of carbs, you've been eating a lot of gels and consuming a lot of different varieties of stuff to keep your energy levels high, but it'll deplete them over time, like your energy levels. And think of it as a car, like you're putting fuel in the car and you're driving your car 100 miles every day, like it's going to deplete that fuel quicker. Whereas if you're tapering and you're not going out and you're not running as much, it's not going to deplete it as quick. You're going to have to put less money or less fuel into your car, so it allows that energy to rebuild and puts less wear and stress on your own engine. And something like a physiological benefit of tapering, most of us wear technology, most of us wear Garmin, Chorus, Polar, whatever it is, that'll look at your resting heart rate. So as the taper period goes on, your resting heart rate will come down. Mine, so when I'm in peak marathon training, it'd be like 39, 40 beats a minute resting heart rate. Over the last week or so, it's come down to about 36. So yeah, it's nice to see, even with a dodgy shoulder, that the taper is actually having a benefit on my body, and your resting heart rate will come down because there's less stress and less stress levels, like training stresses, going into your body as well. And another thing as well, that my last one, marathon training teaches you something, and it teaches you something different every single time. And taking part in a taper process just teaches you a little bit of patience, and it works on your discipline as well, because you could easily panic and go out and try and bank another high mileage week or a big session or something like that, but you know that it's not right and it's not the right time. So yeah, it teaches you some discipline, which is much needed in the marathon journey, or any journey for that matter. And discipline is it's a big fact of life, so it's a life lesson that you can learn from training. And just like a bit of a rounding off comment on it all, like it's normal to feel sluggish, tired and less energetic when and develop something called maranoia, which what we call in the industry, if you like. But don't worry, it's a good sign, and maranoia is a good sign because it shows above all else that you care and that you're invested in your process that you've created, that it's all about yourself and yeah, the people around you. But maranoia is a good thing, so embrace it and don't see it as a negative, see it as a positive. And if you can think like that in terms of your mindset, then that'll take your training up to the next level. So tapering, you might not see any physiological benefits from tapering, what you would perceive, but if you turn it into a positive, it's definitely the most important part that Cookie of New sees in marathon training. So yeah, my theory used to be, go out, if I can run fast when I'm tired, imagine what I could do when I'm fresh. And my theory still remains at that. Even when I was doing 170 mile weeks, 130 mile weeks, running long runs the day before my big event, like, I probably were doing it a little bit wrong. And it's good to admit that I've learned. So yeah, it's all a part of your journey, all a part of your process. Embrace it, embrace the taper. I'm 7 days out now from Berlin Marathon. We fly out on Tuesday, so we're gonna spend a nice week in Berlin to go and see the sights, see the people, and enjoy what is going to be hopefully a decent event, and hopefully my shoulder gets a little bit better as the week goes on. But yeah, that's all a part of the process and all part of the learning journey. So embrace it, be positive, and above all else, just keep running. So yeah, I'll see you next week on Cookie's Rambles, when it'll be the back end of Berlin Marathon, and we'll have performed that dance, and we'll see what we end up with. And it's all a science experiment that could go right, it could go wrong, it could go differently, and that's absolutely fine. So just embrace it. Right, cheers guys for listening, and see you next week. We're going to be spending the next probably half an hour watching a tractor run go past Naomi's mum and dad's. So yeah, it's what they do around here. But they do it up Penistone as well, so we have tractor runs. We've also got World Rally Championships coming to Penistone back end of this year, so that'll be quite cool. They had one over here not too long ago. But yeah, watching a tractor run, so that'll be pretty cool, watching some old tractors go past. He's got to play catch up.
Mixing it with the big